Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something that honestly sounds like a great problem to have, but can actually get pretty tricky, handling multiple offers when you sell your home.
Absolutely. It's a situation lots of sellers dream of, especially in, say, a hot market like we often see around Pierce County in Washington.
Right, but then you get maybe 3, 5, even more offers. And figuring out the best one, that gets complicated fast.
It really does. It's easy to feel a bit overwhelmed. You want to make the right call, not just grab the first flashy number you see.
Exactly. And, we were looking into this and found some fantastic insights over on the Rethinking Real Estate blog that's run by Don and Susie Karstedt, they're local pros, right there in Lake Tapps, Washington.
Oh, yeah. They have some really practical advice on their site, rethinkingre.com. They know the Pierce County market inside and out.
Totally. So our mission today is basically to distill the really crucial stuff from their insights on evaluating these multiple offers. The goal is so you, listening, can feel, more confident making that decision.
And like Don and Susie often point out, it's definitely not just about chasing the highest price tag. There's more to it.
Right. That's the perfect starting point. It's so tempting to just zero in on the biggest number.
It is. It's human nature. But a truly smart decision means, understanding the bigger context, first the market you're actually in, and then really digging into the details of each offer.
Okay, let's talk about that bigger picture then. Don and Susie mentioned understanding the market context. Why is that the first step?
Well, knowing if you're in a seller's market, loads of buyers, not enough homes, versus a balanced market or even a buyer's market where things are slower, that totally changes how you weigh the different parts of an offer.
How so? Like in a seller's market, you just expect higher prices.
Pretty much, yeah. You'll likely see offers coming in over your asking price, maybe with fewer conditions. But in a balanced or buyer's market, that top price might not be as firm or might come with more strings attached.
Ah, okay. So the other terms become even more important then.
Exactly. Knowing the market helps you set realistic expectations and judge the real strength of an offer, not just the dollar amount written on the page.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so we've got the market context. What are those key things beyond price that Don and Susie say we need to really scrutinize?
Right, so beyond the price itself, one big one is the deposit, sometimes called earnest money.
That's the money the buyer puts down up front to show they're serious.
Precisely. And Don and Susie make a great point. A larger deposit generally signals a more committed buyer.
Okay, why is that? Just more committed?
Well, yeah, they have more skin in the game, so to speak. They're less likely to just walk away if some minor issue comes up. It gives you, the seller, more security that the deal will actually close. Think about it. A slightly lower offer with a hefty deposit might actually be less risky than the top offer with only a tiny deposit.
Interesting perspective. More security. Okay, so deposit size matters. What's next on the checklist?
Financing terms. This is absolutely critical. As Don and Susie emphasize, a cash offer, that's usually king.
Because there's no mortgage involved, no lender hoops to jump through.
Exactly. It eliminates that whole uncertainty around whether the buyer can actually get the loan. No financing falling through at the last minute.
Yeah, that's a huge relief for a seller. But most buyers need financing, so what then?
Then the next best thing is a really solid pre-approval letter. Not just pre-qualification. Pre-approval means a lender has actually reviewed their financials pretty thoroughly.
Okay, so that shows they're much further along in the loan process.
Much further. It's not a guarantee, but it's a very strong indicator they can secure the funds. You definitely want to check if offers have that pre-approval, and ideally from a known, reputable lender.
Good tip. All right, financing covered. What about the house itself? Inspections often come up.
Yes, inspection terms. Super important. Most buyers, quite reasonably, want a professional inspection.
Standard practice. But how do the terms of that inspection clause affect the seller?
Well, the dream scenario for a seller is an offer that waives the inspection contingency altogether. Means the buyer accepts the property as is, basically.
Wow, that's bold for a buyer. Does that happen often?
In really competitive markets, sometimes. More commonly, you might see offers with shorter inspection periods.
And that's good for the seller. Why? Just faster.
Faster, yes. But also, it reduces the window where the buyer might find something, get cold feet, or try to renegotiate based on inspection findings. Long inspection periods. They just add uncertainty.
Got it. Less uncertainty is always good. Okay, what else? We've got price, deposit, financing, inspection.
The closing timeline.
Yeah.
When do they actually want to take ownership?
Ah, yeah, the practical stuff. Does their date work for your moving plans?
Exactly. Maybe you need a really quick close, or maybe you need, 60 days to find your next place. An offer that aligns with your timeline can be incredibly valuable.
So a buyer showing flexibility on the closing date could make their offer more attractive, even if the price isn't the absolute highest.
Definitely. That flexibility can be worth a lot in reducing your own stress and logistical headaches.
Makes sense. Don and Susie also mentioned something about the buyer's motivation, like why they're buying.
Yeah, it's a bit more subtle, but knowing if they plan to live there themselves versus maybe flipping it or renting it out, it can give you a hint about their mindset.
Oh, so.
Someone buying it as their future home might have more of an emotional investment. They might be less likely to quibble over minor things found in an inspection, perhaps, more focused on just getting the house they love. An investor might look at it purely numbers-wise.
Interesting. A softer factor, but maybe telling. Okay, so we've got this whole list of things to weigh. If you do get multiple offers, what are some strategies Don and Susie suggest for handling that situation?
One common strategy, especially in a hot market, is to ask for best and final offers.
How does that work? You just tell everyone.
Basically, yeah. You let all the buyers who submitted an offer know that you've received multiple bids, and you give them a deadline, say 24 or 48 hours, to submit their absolute best offer, considering both price and terms.
So it puts a pressure on them to really sharpen their pencils?
Exactly. It can often result in improved offers across the board, potentially better prices, stronger terms, maybe waived contingencies. It creates urgency.
Smart. What else should sellers focus on when comparing these potentially revised offers?
Really scrutinizing the contingencies. We talked about inspection and financing, but there could be others, like needing to sell their own home first.
Right, the ifs.
Precisely. Generally speaking, the fewer the contingencies, the smoother and more certain the path to closing. An offer with minimal or no contingencies is usually much stronger, even if the price isn't the absolute peak.
So fewer hurdles means less chance of the deal falling apart later.
You got it. Risk reduction is key.
And that loops back to what you said earlier about cash buyers or those with solid pre-approvals. Lower risk.
Exactly. Their financial side is more buttoned up, which removes one of the biggest potential roadblocks.
Man, this really paints a picture. It's so much more complex than just who offered the most money.
It really is. It's a balancing act.
And it really underscores the value of having someone experienced guiding you through it. I can see why Don and Susie's local expertise in Pierce County would be so crucial there. They've seen all these scenarios play out.
Oh, absolutely. Having a good local agent or advisor who understands the nuances of the market, who knows how to weigh these different factors based on your priorities, that's invaluable. They help you see past just the numbers to the actual quality and reliability of each offer.
Totally agree. Okay, so let's fast forward. You've weighed everything, picked the best offer for you, and accepted it. What happens next, generally?
Well, once you sign that acceptance, you've got a binding agreement, the purchase contract, your agent guides you through all the paperwork.
And it's just waiting for closing day?
Not quite. There's usually a period where any remaining contingencies need to be satisfied. So the buyer does their inspection if they have one, secures their final loan approval, maybe there's an appraisal.
Right. And if you agree to any repairs based on the inspection,
you typically need to get those done before closing too. Then, you work towards the closing date, coordinating with the title company or attorney to sign the final documents and hand over the keys.
Okay, so getting the offer evaluation right up front really sets the stage for that whole process to go smoothly.
It really does. A strong, well-vetted offer is much less likely to hit snags on the way to closing.
So wrapping this up, what's the main takeaway for someone lucky enough to be juggling multiple offers?
I think the biggest thing is, don't be blinded by the highest number. You have to look at the complete picture. Price, yes, but also the deposit, the financing strength, the contingencies, the timeline, even the buyer's likely commitment. It's about finding the offer that best balances maximum return with minimum risk and hassle for you.
That's great advice. And maybe a final thought for listeners. Before you even get offers, think about what your top priorities are.
Yeah, that's key. Is speed the most important thing? Is certainty paramount? Or are you willing to take on a bit more risk or wait a bit longer for potentially the highest possible dollar amount?
Knowing that answer for yourself will really help you weigh those offers when they come in. It gives you your own scorecard.
Exactly. It helps you filter everything through what matters most to you.
And again, if you're navigating this in the Pierce County area, tapping into the kind of local knowledge and insights like those shared by Don and Susie Karstedt at Rethinking Real Estate seems like a very, very smart step.
Couldn't agree more. Local expertise makes a huge difference in these situations.